to come join us, please. There are plenty of seats. So my name is Ayu, and I'm going to be your moderator for today's session. Just a quick intro into the Zayed Sustainability Prize. For those of you who have not heard, this is a global prize from the UAE, and it's usually awarded to organizations, nonprofits, SMEs, big corporations, even global high schools, for all types of sustainability solutions. And there are different categories. And today, we have the pleasure to be joined by two prize winners from last year. Chongti here, who's from Water Rome, and is a prize winner from last year's category in water. And online, we have Aziza, who's from SoulShare, and was a 2022 prize winner in the energy category. And so since this is kind of a late start, so I'm gonna jump right in. So we're gonna have a series of questions just to kind of learn a little bit more about our prize winners here. So first of all, I'm going to ask you to give a little bit of background and sort of what made you, start up Water Room. So I'm going to go with Chongti first, and then after that, I'm going to go to Aziza online, right?
Right, Ayu, thanks for the amazing introduction. I'm Chongti, and I'm the co-founder of Water Room. Water Room is a social enterprise that develops portable water filtration solutions. They are catered for decentralized communities like rural development areas and disaster relief zones. We started out in 2014, really looking for a solution to provide clean and safe drinking water to the communities. And for me, I have been traveling quite a bit back then. And one of the favorite things I love to do is backpacking, right? So when I backpack, I go into different areas in Cambodia and Indonesia, and even some rural areas in the eastern straits of Malaysia. And that's when I realized that children are not having clean water. And one of the big issues is, when they drink unclean water, they get dysentery, they get diarrhea. We started looking at developing solutions that can remove these harmful parasites from the water, ensuring that they would have clean water. So since then, we have impacted about 250,000 people across the world, over 40 countries. And thanks to partners like the Zayed Sustainability Prize, and partners from all over the world, we're able to kind of make a small impact and create some change on the ground.
Oh, thank you. That's amazing, right? So we're going to go to Aziza online, and Aziza is dialing in today from Bangladesh. Aziza, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same question I just asked Chongti. Tell us a little bit more about the background and sort of aha moments of how SoulShare came about. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ayu, and then thank you, Jai Sustainability, to talk into the nice platform. So exactly in person, I was, after graduating from the university, I started working in social enterprise, BRAC Arrow. So it means that from the beginning, I was with the community, livelihood development, and then entrepreneurship. But when we started SoulShare, then I was thinking in a way that, okay, right now I'm working in a bigger organization and then settle down. Why shouldn't I jump in a startup where we can start from, scratch? But when we started the journey and then conceived of SoulShare, maybe all of you know that it might not be known also that in Bangladesh, that is there was a landmark. Bangladesh has installed 6 million solar system. And then it was, across last mile of Bangladesh. And then, but of course, due to the design, we are letting to know that, especially from the Sebastians and then Hannes Kirchhoff's, two of our founders, this study, that, pretty much 30% is going to wastage due to the design, due to the monsoon changes, weather changes. So that's why we came up with the idea that, yes, implementation of so we wanted to start.
Okay, I think we might be facing a bit of technical difficulties.
Under process that how we can build the infrastructure of the energy with the existing resources up to the national grid. So there will be a breeze. So we are in a couple of phases there. So that was our main theme, why we build soul share, and then what are we doing here, because we are connecting from the root level to the mainstream level. That is our main job here.
Thank you, Aziza. So that's great, hearing from two different kinds of stories, right? With SoulShare and their peer-to-peer trading energy systems, linking up solar home systems, and Water Roam doing clean water solutions in different areas of the world. Could you tell us a little bit more about sort of some of the challenges that you faced, building out Water Roam? And I'm going to start with Chongti and then Oni Aziza. So Chongti, go ahead.
Yeah, so as with many problems, water is a little bit complicated. There's about 2.2 billion people in the world right now without access to clean drinking water, but almost every case can be unique. You have people who are drawing water from rivers, lakes, streams, wells, groundwater, and every set of water conditions, create a different kind of problem for us to solve. So what we did was to start from the ground. So the first 5 years, I think, was a lot of exploration with communities on the ground. So we partner with NGOs, grassroots organizations, and we stay with the villagers. What we were trying to suss out at that point in time is how people use the filters. Because if you have a system that is big, bulky, that can produce maybe a few tons of water per hour, but it cannot reach the area, it can't be adopted, it's too complicated, that would be a big problem for the community. So we laid down some basic principles. The first was safe. The water needs to be safe. It needs to be simple. It needs to be intuitive. Adoption is extremely important. And it needs to be swift, because we are talking about areas where there are disasters. So we need to make sure that the solutions are portable enough to be brought into these areas. So with this, we started developing the Roam filter system, which is a portable water filter that can produce clean water for a community of up to 100 to 200 people. So it has a very rapid flow rate, and it can be operated by a child. It weighs about 5 kg in total. And that actually helped us to tackle some of the problems in decentralized communities around the world. So we worked with Zayed Sustainability Prize this year to deploy quite a number of systems in East Malaysia, in some of the longhouses in Sarawak. I'm sure you have experience, gone down to some of these communities as well, and in some areas in Sabah. So one of the things that I really enjoy about my job is that it is really fulfilling and meaningful. And I'm glad that we have a lot of people behind us who believe in our cause.
Thank you. Thanks. Great. Aziza, if you can hear us, so I'm going to pose the same question to you. Could you tell us a little bit more about SoulShare and some of the challenges and hurdles that you faced building it out?
Yeah. Thank you, Ayu. So, our challenges are different in different phases. When we started with peer-to-peer grid, personally, I went to the villages, and then when I went talk to the community, and then I started my conversation in such a way, let's make a soul grid as you can share. And then they were stubborn. No, I will not share. I need more energy. So I don't want to share who doesn't have the solar system yet. I need more energy. Why I will share? Then basically, from that learning, we changed our phrase. Okay, then start trading yourselves. And then, okay, slowly, they started trading by themselves, and then we started building peer-to-peer grid. And then, of course, starting peer-to-peer grid, within next 2 years, Bangladesh has been electrified, full, 98.5%. And then our challenges was, then people was asking us, okay, now I don't want to uninstall the soul grid, but what I will do with my excess energy? Because then basically they started the peer-to-peer grid as IPS, backup system. Then basically we are starting, how we can integrate the national grid to soul grid. But it's, this time we have to face both challenges from the community and then state law, because then we convince the government, and then we implemented one one's interconnection between Soul Grid to national grid with the regulatory sandbox. It's not the normal regulation. And then the community is too happy, okay, because they started selling and then they started get income from their existing solar home system. And then again we thinking that how we can elaborate this situation. Then we start jumping into the soul mobility, because Bangladesh has more than 4 million EVs. EVs means three wheelers, because EV, all whenever the terminology come in front of us, EV, all over we think that okay, it's Tesla. It's not Tesla. It's the three wheelers. But the problem is that all 4 million three wheelers that is running with the lead acid battery. All of you know that how much dangerous, how much environment disfriendly the lead acid battery is. Then we were thinking that how we can jump in the problem, still keeping in mind that building and then much more resilient the energy infrastructure. Then we started innovating to solve of the soul mobility, because then we felt that this lead acid battery need to be replaced by lithium and batteries, because lithium and then our technology is making it much more smarter, as it, because this lithium and battery has the BMS, it means that we can control, we can talk to them. But again, the problem is that now the problem is that the poor EV drivers, they can't afford the lithium and battery with upfront. Then now our challenge is that how we can bring bankings in, the MFIs in this sector, and then of course especially on top of the government. So yes, now our main vision is that if we can interconnect those, those EVs, 4 million EVs with the national grid during the peak hour, then we can get solution with the existing resources of our 25% problems during peak time. So our challenges are in different layer and then different times, but still we are trying to solve one by one, and then we hope that we will be there soon.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing, Aziza, is that you guys have been on this really incredible journey as SoulShare, right? Starting out with just wanting to provide energy access, and then finding along the way all these other problems, right, that you're trying to solve with SoulShare and the platform. And now, you've come so far with the e-mobility. I'm kind of curious to know as well, like how did you go through that evolution, and how has Zayed also kind of supported that? Like, it sounds like you guys have done so much. So I'm curious to know about this. Yeah.
Interesting question, because thanks Jazz Sustainability Prize, because end of 2021, when we decided as SoulShare that okay, now we need to, we need to evolve our innovation. We shouldn't be limited within only peer-to-peer grid. Now we need to think on a next phase level. But of course, when we won the Jazz Sustainability Prize, back money, we utilized the development of the soul mobility solution, and then of course advocacy field. Because as you know, because still from the peer-to-peer grid to our new soul mobility, because soul mobility is ultimate. We will not become a battery manufacturer or nothing. Our goal is we want to interconnect those 4 million solar home system, 4 million vehicles, and then those 6 million solar home systems to the national grid. We want to build the virtual power plant, as people community can get their benefit, as they will have their extra leftover of energy within themselves, they can money, and then government can get those energy instead of building a new power plant to meet the only peak hours demand. That is our ultimate goal. And then of course thanks Jazz Sustainability Prize, because they helped us to our initial development and then product development. We use that money over there.
Okay. I think, yeah. Thanks, Aziza. Yeah, so I was kind of curious also, like hearing all of this, right, from SoulShare, and reflecting on Water Roam's journey as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you found Zayed, and what do you think a platform like Zayed, what's the role of platforms like that for Water Roam, and how can you take it further?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest value that Zayed brings is the international connections that they have. And during this, after, being very thankful to have won the accolade last year, we were able to meet up with so many people like Aziza, people from all the different sectors. When we talk about solving water problem, it's often not just water itself, right? We are often looking at the food, water, and energy nexus. And I feel that what Zayat brought is that it brought in, a huge variety of innovators, young entrepreneurs, social activists, and this allows us to constantly exchange our ideas. And because, I guess, working in the humanitarian and social field, the people we meet often are quite limited, right? So having this network of friends, right, of comrades, it really helped us to expand our reach very significantly. And I mean, if you're looking around the world right now in areas like Ukraine, in Israel, Palestine, there are so many issues right now, and the issues they're not just contained within water. And what we really hope to do through Zayat and through all our various partners is to find ways to collaborate, to deliver these solutions, these innovations to them, so that we can help relieve some of the situation around the world. And I'm sure this, this is a matter very close to heart to many. And I also hope that, Water Room can do more in this area, and we're definitely working on that.
So have you and SoShare, talked about different projects that you can collaborate on together?
So far, no, but we are currently looking at some areas that also require power. So, we are trying to basically get them to give us more details, and hopefully, like in areas that SoShare is, distributing power, and, areas where we're distributing water, we can have more synergy together.
Okay. I'm going to give the audience a chance to also ask some questions. After hearing, the stories from our two speakers today, I'm wondering if anybody has any questions, and please. Yes? No? Oh, we have one question here.
Thank you. We hear so much about the water crisis currently and how it's one of the huge issues. Do you see the problem of accessing clean water getting worse and worse, or are we actually on the way to, with the solutions that you're providing, like Water Room is providing, on the way to make it better?
Right. Okay, so I think the question was, would the water crisis get worse? Or do I see innovation being one of the disruptor that could help to reverse this situation? I mean, to be honest, I think the current situation isn't very bright. I think the water crisis is worsening, right? And it's not just a water access issue. There's also a water scarcity issue. I think if you have seen areas in South Asia like India and Pakistan, they are experiencing huge swings in droughts and floods, right? Very extreme weather conditions. And in many other areas, water is kind of a trigger for tension, which, it causes refugees, it causes farmers to flee, and then it creates a refugee population, which then causes, conflicts between the governments and local people. So at the moment, the issue is definitely a very challenging one to fix. But I think it is not a problem that is not solvable, right? Because if you were to look at the problem using the traditional lens of purely centralized solutions, the only way that you can fix this is by building $1 million and $1 billion water plants and trying to lay the pipelines to every single home. But what we see is that with technology, with progress in technology, we are able to miniaturize a lot of these solutions, and then this allows us to actually percolate our solutions into these areas. So I believe that with more collaborations from corporates, governments, the PPP collaboration, we'll be able to reach out to more areas. And I think very importantly is also in financing as well. So right now, only about 3% of climate financing for water, and there's only about 3% for climate financing. So I feel that there can be more in that area as well, because I feel that people talk a lot about carbon offsets and carbon footprint, but we haven't really looked at the water crisis very closely. So, I think for Water Room, this is also one of the things that we are trying to raise awareness for, so that people can come in and contribute more in this area. So we definitely need more people to join us to end prolonged thirst.
We had another question there.
Hi, my name is Hakim from Souls Energy. We do energy access and also provide green jobs for indigenous people. So we work with these populations. My question is for the both of you guys who do a lot of work off-grid. How do you size up your market in these off-grid communities where so little data is readily available? And once you've sized up your market, how do you then translate this into your sort of 5-year planning horizon when it comes to, let's talk about money, right? When it comes to fundraising, and maybe you can shed some light on what's your fundraising approach? Is it primarily like grant-based, or is it, is there like venture philanthropy thrown in to any of your both programs? So sizing up the market and then planning for financing in a sort of not so short-term manner. How do you guys do it? I'm kind of curious.
All right, maybe I would just answer it quickly. I mean, I think all of us have access to secondary data, right? But of course, I mean, that gives us kind of an overview on the total addressable market within maybe a certain state, country or state. But I think that the one that you're curious about is primary data. And for primary data, we actually rely a lot on our partner networks to get information. So some of them, sometimes it can be very, very, how to say, it is very on the ground. Like, we kind of go down to the areas, we talk to people, and then they'll connect us. Okay, we have this family, we have this cousin, we have this relative that are facing some kind of situation last year, this year, and how, is there any way that we can reach out to them? So on one part, we are actively looking for partners to work with. So it's not just, I mean, Water Room itself can't do that much, but it is true the partnership is with different organizations that we are able to extend our reach. And the second part is on financing. I think money is the question that everybody asks about. And of course, I think for Water Room as well, we are constantly fundraising. We talk to corporates. We try to get them to link us up with government as well. There's also like international bodies like the UN that can be kind of a body that introduces us to people, and then we will try to do pitching and all that to raise the funding for the community. So I think we are trying from every single possible angle, and that's generally how we do things. So I hope that this short answer, I'm able to answer your question with this short answer.
So Aziza, we're going to have you answer the same questions. So it was around how do you size your market, especially when there isn't much data, and then also what do you do, for funding, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, interesting thing is that in 6 million solar home system that installed by Bangladeshi Infrastructure Development Company, though those installed by 56 partner organizations of ISCALs. So when we started and thinking peer-to-peer grid, we got the secondary data from ITPOL. That was our privilege. And then second issue is that as our devices, those are IoT device. So the day one of the installation, we are getting the primary data with our own devices. And then there's DSPN data. And then in terms of soul mobility, yes, again, we use the, secondary data as 4 million is huge across Bangladesh. And then from day one, of course, we are using our devices, our hardware, and then we are getting, as IoT, we are getting primary data. And in terms of funding, of course, it's combination of grant investment because we are private limited company. As for example, whenever we are installing the grid within the Rohingya community, then of course it's grant because Rohingyas doesn't have any money as they can, buy the electricity and other things. But when we are doing it for the other community and then other things, that is not fully funded by grant. Because if we don't have any business model, and then if we can't make it work, then basically it will not be sustainable and then long term. So yes, we are, less grant, and then of course more fund and then revenue from our solutions.
Perfect. Thank you. So we have another question.
Hello, hi. Haida from Marketing in Asia. Just a brief understanding, because eventually as a company itself, a private entity, at the end of the day, the focus is always about how we can earn more, right? So I just want to know more in terms of the policy making, in terms of, because you're working together under the investment of Zayed Sustainability Prize as well, which means that they are shareholders up there that you have to satisfy as well, because at the end of the day, they're not looking in terms of how more people that you can help, but how more money that they can earn as well. So in terms of the policy for the company itself, what are the lines that you guys are putting? And the focus of the company is on how much more you can help or how much more you can earn. Thank you.
All right. I'll try to keep it short. But I guess we have organizations like ZSP, like Zayed Sustainability Prize, that is looking to identify innovations, identify solutions that can help to rapidly decarbonize the economy. And for startups like us, social enterprises like us, social organizations like ours, we are looking for partners that have the network, either it's financing or other sorts of them, to kind of help us to accelerate our growth, our impact. And I think what is very important for us is to focus on the synergy, right? Of course, there are times where organizations will request for us to give more, with maybe an allocated budget, and this is where I think effective financial planning and budgeting is very important. For our projects, we have about 50 to 60% of the financing is often catered for like water rooms, technology solutions, filters, and so on. But a part of it, like about 30 to 40% of it, is actually used for tracking, monitoring, and also for like identifying the target markets and things like that. So long we make a sufficient buffer for projects and deployments, that will ensure there will be less friction and tension later on when it comes to the alignment of expectations. Of course, there will always be differences in expectations, but what we try to do is to find a way to work through the problems and to have that optimism in mind, and not to not to give in to cynicism and just look at the problems and we can't progress forward. And I think that is very important in this field. So that's my personal take on the issue.
And Aziza, could you try and keep it short, because I think we're running out of time. Thanks.
As our innovation and then our solution, we need, a couple of stakeholders like community, and then not only us, because the government is also in. So in terms of policy making, Zayed Sustainability platform and any other platform that is helping us to, reach to the policy makers. That is one thing. And then in terms of, fund utilizing, as you know that our organization, started journey for the bottom up. It's not that this is cascading down. So whenever we make our budget, we keep in mind that of course most of the money will be our R&D, and then development of everyday's development of our products. But of course we are very cautious that we don't want to spend lots of money on unnecessary things, and as whoever our investors, they invest on us as to get the SROI. So we keep in mind, and then in parallel, always as a company, we are focusing that, okay, because let's do the innovation, but we started doing another business line like commercial solar rooftop. That is also for the green energy, green things, but of course less innovation is needed. So we are considering that as cash cow, and then we are focusing on our innovation. So we are running in parallel. cash cow and then our core innovation, because for a long run, it shouldn't be dependent on any investors, funders, anything. We have to stand on our own foot.
Thank you, Aziza. So, we're coming to the end here. So I'm just going to give you both a quick chance to just have like maybe a one sentence, one liner to close up. Maybe two. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's something that I mentioned earlier, right? I think the water crisis is a big one. It looks very intimidating. It overwhelms us a lot at times, but I believe it is a problem that can be solved. And we definitely need to take active steps to put more resources into this area. Like I mentioned before, about 3% of climate financing go into water. I think there can be more put into that area. And I think we are definitely looking for partners as well to work together to solve the water problem. So yeah, I thank you for the time. Thank you.
Aziza?
Yeah, I want to say that whenever we talk about innovation, we shouldn't only look on that will come from Silicon Valley. That might come from any corner of the world. So the world should not only focus on rebuilding of the new infrastructure. World should focus on that, what we have existing, and then how we can utilize those resources, I mean, in a very much efficient way, because all our intention is to save the world. New infrastructure industrialization will not help us to reach the goals. So we should focus on, I mean, this is not a soul mobility, virtual power plant. This is not only for Bangladesh. This should be adopted by rest of the world as well. Thank you, Vayu, and then thank you, Jazz Sustainability Prize to give me the time.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, both of you, today, and kind of, showing what Asia Pacific has to offer the world. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.